We have so many stories in our lives, but our stories are not always heard. On the Hear My True Story podcast, we tell our own true stories.
Before the white car parked, our head teacher had scattered. Looking at him, I could only see his tie that was flying backwards, waving at us, and he disappeared in thin air.
I want to share my life story. I want to share my voice with the people because I know that just a small joke I can tell through this podcast, it will make someone smile.
When you ask me what I fear most in life, I would definitely respond to you and say it's fear itself.
We are fighting for togetherness. We are fighting for equal rights. We are fighting to end injustice.
You don't have to be a storyteller or writer because, guess what? Life writes the best stories.
Hear my true story.
Hello, our dear listeners. Welcome back again to the Hear My True Story podcast. Yes, it is me, your host, Otaku. Today is quite wonderful and really special because we went out there and we interviewed our guest in the field. We wanted to know more about his work, what he does, where he works, what kind of experiences, challenges, and maybe experiences that he can share with our listeners. Yeah, my brother, I would like you to introduce yourself to our listeners.
My name is Edmond, or they call me Eddie. I'm from Kenya, and I'm living here in Germany, in Marburg.
You're a Kenyan. Then you're here in Marburg, Germany, and you ended up being a bus driver. So, Eddie, how did you manage to become a bus driver?
I came to Germany in Marburg, and I was looking for something. I wanted to do an apprenticeship, but I did not get a chance. So by good luck, I was with somewhere. He saw a placard and we applied for the job to be a driver. The job to be a driver here, you have to have a German license and you have to do a license for bus. It's called a personal Beförderungsschein. That is they allow you to drive the buses, and you have to have a permit for the bus driving because of the passengers. And the Ausbildung or the training is like a defensive training course for bus driving. It takes around 4 to 5 months, and you have to have you got to do 70 driving lessons, and you have to do three examinations, driving examination. You have to do theory and practical, and you have to do another exam for, they call it IHK, like the trade examination for bus driving.
Can someone use a license from his home country to be a bus driver in Germany? Or, for example, I'm from Uganda. Can I use my Ugandan driving license to just start right out with the training of being a bus driver in Germany?
First, you have to make sure you have a license, normal license, or you convert your license. Then you can, you have to still do the other license. The license, like I said before, it costs 7,000, 8,000 euros. If you're able to pay yourself, it's fine. But if you need help, you can ask for help for someone to help you to pay for it. Then when you just do the license and you have the good language, you're good to go.
What are the requirements for one to become a bus driver here in Germany?
There's basically no academic requirement, but maybe they just need to check on your German level if you speak good German. And you, of course, if you are not, you are able to do small things. You understand German, you understand people, you can read also. Yeah.
So, how is the payment for someone who's working as a bus driver in Germany?
Payment is it's a well paid job. It's a well paid job, and you have pension, and you have you have a permanent employment, and you have other benefits, like for example, if you work at night, you have a night duty money you paid for something for night duty, and you are insured, of course, and it's a very family friendly job, because you can speak with the boss and they can even change the shift for you so that you can have some time with the family.
If I am to ask, I mean, you are free to answer or not. What are some of the advantages of this job, of being a bus driver?
The advantages of this job, one thing is like you meet so many people from different nationalities, and you learn new things every day. Like someone will come, someone very new here comes and tells you where he comes from, and you tell him about this city. That's one of the advantages that we have here.
I mean, from your own experience as a bus driver, I would like to just ask, what are some of the individual behaviors, or let me say things, that someone should have to be a bus driver?
One of the things is like you should be healthy, you should not be short-tempered, and you should also be having more patience, and you should also be flexible, because you have to do shift work.
So can someone apply to be a bus driver when he's not living in Germany?
Well, applying from outside Germany, I don't know the regulation, because you didn't have to have a work permit if you're not a German, or if you don't have the resident permit, you need to have a work permit. That's a requirement that I cannot really talk about. I'm really not informed, but I think it could be a bit hard, because like for the license, you have to have a German license, for them to allow you to drive the buses.
I mean, you are free to answer or not. Do you happen to experience certain surprises in your job as a bus driver?
Surprises, they're always, every day there are surprises. Like for example, someone falls in the bus and you have to help them, or maybe people fight in the bus and you're the one to help them. You call the police, and maybe like now because of Corona, people don't want to come with mask, and when you ask about the mask, German people knows the law, so they want to argue it out. So such small things, but any challenges that come, we handle it as they come. And you can call we have our machine there, I'll show you later. There you can press and they send you police, or you can press and they send you ambulance. And the other surprises that maybe you have is maybe you get someone who doesn't understand any word of German or English, so it becomes also a little bit hard.
I mean, is there any interesting experience where you were driving the bus and people start to fight? And what do you do?
The interesting situation, there were two ladies who fought in the bus. They really fought, and I had to call the police, because as a bus driver, you are the first witness that happened, So you have to call the bus, you have to write statements. Yeah, that's what happened.
Did you get to know why these passengers in your bus were fighting?
I couldn't realize, but later on, because I was driving, I was concentrating on the road. But later I heard they were fighting because of one that did not want to move stuff from the seat, and then the one wanted to sit down. So that's what I heard from them. So this one did not want to remove the seat. They're just thinking about themselves,
Anyway, it is really funny, People fight over smaller things. But anyway, how many routes do you drive in a day?
At times you drive, like today I'm going to drive 3 routes. At times you drive 1, at times you drive 2, at times 3 or even 4 routes. Yeah, but today I'm driving 3 routes.
So, Eddie, you are Kenyan, you have lived in Kenya. you have seen buses in Kenya, yeah? So what are the differences between Kenyan buses and buses here in German? I mean, you're a bus driver. You may be able to know the differences.
One of the difference is timekeeping. You know, here they keep time. Like the buses go at particular time, and there are different lines, and they have also connection with different lines. For example, if you want to connect a bus from Bahnhof that goes to another route, you can connect with time. You know, back home you have to you just drive without bus plan. That's one of the reasons. Another one of the differences, and the other difference is like you're working alone. You're driving the bus and you're taking the money. You know, like you are getting the money from the clients. Back home, you have to have two people. You know, like you're driving and there's a conductor who's calling people, come, you're going to this route. And here, no one. They look at the plan and they just come in. Yeah.
What if you drive your bus and you reach the bus stop earlier than the time that the bus was supposed to be there? Can you just leave right away, or you have to wait?
You have to keep your time. You know, like if you're supposed to be there at 1 o'clock, for example, and then you get there 5 minutes earlier, you have to stay there until 1 o'clock. Otherwise, you're not allowed to leave there, because if you leave, someone was maybe waiting for the bus, you know, and then they miss it, and then you have big problems.
So, Eddie, do you remember any big challenge or a big obstacle that you have really faced in your career as a bus driver here in Germany?
Of course. I remember one day I was driving and it was snowing, and there were two people in the bus, and both of them were blind, and we were driving downhill, and you step on the brakes, but the bus the brakes doesn't work, you know, so the bus was sliding downhill, and I had two blind guys. They didn't know what's happening, but one of them was like, hey, I think we are sliding, but it was a bit funny because we were sliding and they were not seeing this, but they could hear this. That was a bit scary for me, because there's nothing you can do at this point, because even the steering wheel doesn't work, anything doesn't work. So but fortunately nothing happened.
So Eddie, what would you tell someone who is thinking of coming to Germany, or maybe is living in Africa, but he thinks of moving to Germany? Maybe he's living in the US, he's thinking to move to Germany. Maybe he's moving from Asia and he's coming to Germany, but what would you tell them? What would be your advice?
One of the things that I would love to tell people is, when you get a chance to travel to Germany, there are many opportunities. One of them is bus driving, for example. And you can do this thing if you want. It's not an easy job like any other job if you choose to do bus driving, for example. But whatever you see, whatever you get here, any opportunity, go for it. Grab the opportunity. And of course, try your best to give all you can. Anything you do it good, because you never know your destiny. Because like the system don't like people who are just getting from the system. They like people who are busy. So do something fast. Interact with people. Find out how people manage their stuff, and try to fit in the community. Find out, like, for example, you speak to someone like you who's gone through the system and you know how to go about stuff, you know. Do that. Don't forget. Don't isolate yourself. That's another thing. Don't isolate yourself, because Europe, you can die of stress, you can die of depression, you know. So please speak to people, get out, meet new people, challenge yourself, and be focused with whatever you want. If, for example, if your aim is to do house building, or if you do bus driving, or to study, focus on that. It's not easy. It's a foreign language. It's a foreign land, different culture, different weather, and different people. People might not be even willing to help you, but just press on. Press on, press on, press on. You can only go high if you want.
my brother Eddie, did you have anything else you would like to share or to talk about that we have not talked about?
What I would say, like what I tell people in this kind of life that you are living here, either in Africa, Europe, America, or everything, just know life is short, and you have to live for that moment. Do whatever you can do at that particular moment, and make things better. Not for yourself, even for the people who are watching you. There are people who sees you as a role model. For example, you Otako, I know you have a good following. There are people who look upon you. So give whatever you can also, and be ready to assist someone whom you don't expect anything from. Hey, my man here, Otako, and Eddie here, Otaked.
Otaked. That's really interesting. Otaked, yeah, super.
Yeah. So look whom I found here. He's been lost all the time, but today I got him.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Eddie, to your day. And
You're
I'm
welcome.
so happy that
You're very welcome.
Can you imagine? I spent some of my free time, but he was working. I was spending time.
I was working, but we were working, both of us. He's a good boy today. He behaved himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Music by Edwin Matovo, hosted and produced by Otako. Subscribe to our podcast for more stories and visit us on our website, hearmytruestory.com, for more stories. All the links are listed in the show notes of this podcast.